This is a very old bicycle. It's called a velocipede. It's not made of the same materials as a modern bicycle, and the pedals are fixed differently. Where are they attached? The designers of modern bicycles have learnt a lot from early machines such as that one. The bicycles we ride today are the result of many years of experimenting with different shapes and materials and methods of making. Some of these machines would look very strange on our roads today. And if you think these 6 in a row look funny, there were originally 26 sections to this machine. It was built by the army for blind soldiers. Only the man in the front needed to see to steer. Not only do they look different, many of them also work differently. To find out more about them, you could look up a book or visit a museum like these children are. This is the Museum of Road Transport in Coventry. One way to help to understand how a machine works is to try drawing it. To make really accurate drawings, these children needed to know the measurements of the cycles. But how do you measure the circumference of a wheel?
Yes, we've got to go right up and join that piece up there.
The first step is to fasten a piece of string all round the rim of the wheel.
Now, a little bit just at the top to hold it. Now, who's got some chalk in their pockets?
I have. Kelly has. I haven't got any pockets. Right.
Mark the string.
Once the string reaches the starting point, it is marked and laid flat on the floor to be measured.
Not in the middle. Right, okay. Now then,
Down.
we're going to measure 300
74 and
374 and a half centimetres. Right. And what measurement was that for?
circumference.
The circumference.
These children were surprised by the size of the wheels of the old cycles. Like this one, the ordinary or penny farthing. Not at all like a modern bicycle.
It's quite different. What is the first thing that you notice about it, about the bicycle?
One wheel's bigger than the other.
There's one wheel bigger than the other. Now look at our bicycle. What do we notice about the wheels on this bicycle that we've got? Go preach.
Same size.
They're the same.
A penny farthing gets its name from two old coins, the old penny and the very much smaller farthing. We've made it look even smaller to match the size of the bicycle wheels. When the big wheel turns once, it travels quite a long way. And the small wheel, the farthing, when that turns once, it doesn't go so far. To travel the same distance as the big wheel, it will have to turn not once, but 4 times. So, to keep up with the big wheel, it will have to turn 4 times as fast. The pedals are fixed to the front wheel of the penny farthing. Turning them once will take you quite a long way. The larger the wheel, the further you go for one turn. But if it were any larger than this, Jan's head would be lost in the trees. It's hard enough to ride it as it is. The large wheel on the penny farthing was one solution to a problem. The designers of modern bicycles have solved the problem in a different way, using a chain and wheels with teeth around their edge, gear wheels. In this way, one turn of the pedals turns the wheels more than once. How do they do this?
We're going to look at the teeth here on the crank and the teeth on the sprockets.
These children are conducting an experiment to find out what effect gears have on the number of turns of the wheel.
If we look here at the sprockets, how many lots of sprockets have we got there? How many gears have we got on the bike? Lee? 5. We've got 5, yes, 5. Just have a quick look at them. Have they all got the same number of teeth on them?
No.
You think? Then you and Helen can count the number of teeth on that for me.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8,
1,
9,
2,
10,
3,
11,
4,
12,
5, 6, 7, 8,
33, 34, 35.
Because this bicycle has 5 gears, the teeth on each of the 5 rear sprocket wheels have to be
Are we
counted.
going to mark it in exactly the same way as we marked the others? Yes. All right then, Tina, you mark it for me. That's it. Start turning.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
The results of their counting are put onto a chart.
How many did you have for gear number 2?
16.
How many?
16.
16.
Now, how does the number of teeth relate to the number of turns of the wheel?
1, 2 and a bit. 2 and a bit.
Now they change gear.
1, 2, 2 3/4.
When they have done this for all 5 gears, they can put their results on the same chart as the first group.
Right.
Now they are in a position to see what the connection is between the number of sprockets and the number of turns of the wheel.
Where? The step stool. That's
You
it.
could try this for yourself.
Right up. That's it. Now, this is the place, the number of turns of the back wheel for one turn of the pedal. What did you find for gear number 1, Lee?
3.5.
It turned 3.5 turns.
Yeah.
Right. Those big numbers.
We've already seen how a pulley can be used to change the speed at which a wheel turns. Let's see how this works. A pulley, like this, makes the further wheel turn more slowly. But what happens if you try to stop them turning?
See which one stops. Well, that one's quite easy to stop. Now I'll try this one. That one's the hardest, so I think that one's got more force.
I'll try. I'll get them level.
The children discovered that the slower wheel is harder to stop than the faster.
You see, this one's going faster than this one. It's going a little bit faster than this one.
It's the same with gears as it is with pulleys. Are these wheels all turning at the same speed? The slowest wheel, the one on the far right, has the greatest turning force. But the wheels are not only turning at different speeds. Have a look at the direction in which each of them is turning. You can even use gears to turn axles at right angles to each other. These are called bevel gears. Quite a lot of things in your home use gears. See if you can spot what these things are and what the gears are used for. Here are some things you probably won't have at home. They're in the Bethnal Green Museum in London. See if you can see how they work. In this school, the children wanted to design a wooden toy with moving parts, like the ones we've just seen.
Parts. The hat will move up and down, and the tail jointed across there will move up and down as well. Now, how are we going to obtain this? On the board are 4 different variations. First one is a simple, anyone know what it's called? Yes, miss?
A crank.
A crank. And what does the crank do?
All the children decided to use a crank fixed to the wheels.
It will make all the cranks the same.
Using a jig to guide the wire makes bending it easier.
All right. So, there's the crank. If you watch as it goes round, what do you notice?
The children then made a prototype out of card. In that way, they were able to try ideas out at the planning stage and not make expensive mistakes in wood. Rosie is making a mouse. She wants its head to bob up and down. Once they were satisfied with their cardboard prototypes, the children transferred their designs onto wood. You will remember that a coping saw is best for cutting curved and awkward shapes. But the best laid plans don't always come out right in the making.
Right, the problem that Debbie's got, that she doesn't want the frog to go up and down as most of your movements are going. She wants hers to hop on and off the leaf. Perhaps not to the extent that I've shown you, but certainly that sort of movement. Now, that's the problem that she's got, and that's a problem that I hope you're going to help solve. Anybody got any ideas? Stephen?
If you cut the slot in the wood sidewards, could the pole come up and attach to the frog and the frog will go forward and backwards?
You mean on an angle instead of vertically?
Yeah.
That could be one answer, yes.
Could the crank just go like that instead of going the right way round?
What would happen to the wheels if the crank went just like that?
Well, it stop.
Well, they'd just go backwards and
This kind of discussion can be very helpful if a design doesn't work well first time. Some difficulties become clearer while making the model.
Slit down the middle, but the frog be twined onto the rod, and then when the rod moved backs and forwards, the frog would go with it.
Their solutions all require making a slot in a piece of wood. How do you do that? Here's another use for a coping saw. By checking the wooden toy against its cardboard prototype, they can make sure that the measurements are accurate and that everything works. The wire moving the gun has to be bent in just the right place to make it work. And that's what the slot's for, to allow the wire to move freely. The plastic sleeving on the crank stops the wire from slipping off. It may be a good idea to paint the models before finally assembling them. Karina hopes that the birds will bob up and down when they're fixed to the crank. Let's see if they do. Yes! Oh dear, something seems to be sticking. It should be easy to fix. The mouse works all right. And the frog? Well, that's one solution. You might like to try making something like these yourself, or find out more about why we no longer ride velocipedes.
Well, the last of this morning's programmes for schools and colleges, General Studies, follows in just a touch over 3 minutes.